Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. It's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. It's Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and this is when I try to give you no BS job search advice. Real straightforward, real direct information that you can use right from the get-go to help you find work. Because what I find so often is for most job hunters, the process is way too difficult. They make it way too complicated. And as a result, the job search takes a lot longer than most people really need it to take. So what I try to do is provide you with direct information that you can use all the time to help yourself find work. Now, today's call is brought to you by ConsultingAssignments.com. ConsultingAssignments.com is a site where you can find and fill consulting assignments, full-time consulting positions, temp to perm and contract to hire opportunities anywhere in the world completely free. Posting a job and posting a resume is free. Searching jobs for resumes is also free, as well as information to contact one another. Now, if for some reason you don't find something on the site that fits you, if you go back to the home page and click the button that says Indeed, it'll take you to Indeed.com where you can search even more listings there as well. So again, that's Consulting Assignments with a plural at the end, an S at the end, .com. Now, I decided to do a show today about a subject that I don't talk about very often, and that's about working with recruiters. Now, I don't do it very often because I don't want to make it seem like the radio show is self-serving. Yes, I have job listings that I'm working on at the end, but most of what I try to do is provide information to help job hunters. And yes, working with a recruiter is important, but of every 45 or 50 episodes I do, I may do one show about working with recruiters or agents, and today is that day. So I want to spend some time talking with you about what to do when the recruiter calls and some of the advantages of working with recruiters if I still have time at the end. So first of all, in terms of what to do when the recruiter calls, and I'll use myself as an example. Most of the time when I'm calling up a candidate, I may have a resume, but let's work with the assumption that I also do cold calls, which I also do. I'm doing research to find people. I'm working with my own database. I'm on the web trying to identify people. I'm using a host of different tools and services to find people who may have particular skills. Sometimes the information I have is sketchy. Sometimes it's very detailed. I can't tell you which one it is right now. It just depends on the search that I'm involved with. But I'm going to reach out to someone, and what I'll do is call someone up and say, "Hi, my name is Jeff Altman. I'm a professional recruiter. I want to have a chance to talk with you about a situation with a client of mine. Is this a good time, or would it be better if we spoke at another occasion?" Now, I'm giving someone two choices there. I'm asking if they're free to talk now or whether it would be better if we spoke later. Instead, some people make the mistake of trying to put me on the defensive and asking that lovely question with an attitude, I must point out. Who gave you my name? As though, frankly, people try to help me. And in doing research, I'll reach out to folks and they'll point me in their direction. And most of the time, almost all the time, the person doesn't want their name mentioned. Why? Sometimes they're trying to get a competitor out of the way. Sometimes they're an employer who wants to get a problem employee out of the way. Most of the time, they're just trying to help someone out. And they just don't want their name involved in case the person might not want to be helped out. They don't want to get into trouble. But they're trying to help me out, and they're trying to help my client out. So don't ask who gave you my name is the first question. Instead, be quiet and just listen when I try and talk with you about the role that's involved. And once I've done that, ask some follow-up questions that relate to the job, because what I'm doing is offering you an opportunity to improve your circumstances. Now, if it isn't an improvement over what you have, just very politely say, I'm doing better than that right now, or this role doesn't happen to interest me. Could I talk with you about what I'm doing now and what my comp level is, and if something else comes up in the future, perhaps you can get back in touch. Instead, some people just have an attitude, and I have done nothing more than reach out to someone and offer them an opportunity that might be better than what they have. So I'll simply say that it's not the way to respond. I record notes about people, my dealings with them. And all you want to do is to be respectful and courteous, in much the same way as if you were to call up a vendor and ask them some questions, you expect them to be courteous. Well, I'm the same way. So once we've gotten the job out of the way, let me ask questions. Sometimes people want to start, going way ahead in the process. Just let me do my qualifying questions to evaluate and assess you for the role that's involved. You might want to find out how long I've had the search. Is this something brand new, in which case they're relatively early in the process, or is this something that's been going on for 3 months and I'm circling back to try and fill this role? There's a difference in your circumstances at the very beginning versus 2 months in or 3 months in. You may want to find that out, but frankly, most of the time it's not that important. What I think is more important is to find out if I've submitted any people against this search and what's happened with them. If someone's on a third interview, getting involved in the search at this stage may be a waste of your time. But from my standpoint, I'm just trying to make sure that there's no additional competition that other recruiters are going to provide my client with. So you might just want to find out what the status is of the search, as well as my track record with the client. Have I worked with them before, or am I a new individual providing service to them? You might want to find out what the process is like with this client. I remember one firm some years ago I briefly did work with, and I stopped because the process became ridiculous. This one firm would put someone through 15 to 20 interviews. And I'm not kidding. It was really 15 to 20 interviews. And then they would call up one day and say, we're going to take a pass, and never really provide any information as to why. So just find out what the process is going to be like to see if you have the time to get involved with something along those lines. You might ask about my experience. I'll also say that, and I'm just going to make a simple apology for my profession. Junior recruiters often lie about their experience. I'm a guy with 40 years of doing professional recruiting background. I don't lie about my background. I'm very proud of it. But junior recruiters will often say that they have more experience than they do. Why? They just want to puff themselves up so they don't seem like beginners. And I'll just say, listen carefully to how they carry themselves. And do they sound like someone with as much experience as they claim to have? I remember someone in my office who I verbally slapped around after they did this said they had 10 years of experience when they may have had 10 weeks in the field. And they basically were embarrassing over the phone. I just said, don't lie. You heard all of us where you claim 10 years and you only have 10 weeks. So just don't lie about it. You're better off just being honest and saying, I'm relatively new at the recruiting profession and yada, 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 and asking for some help. But the big question that you get asked toward the end of the conversation that I think is helpful to you is, what are next steps here? What's going to happen next? I might say, well, I'm going to speak with my client, presuming that they're interested, and I'll go through the process with you of what would happen next. If I have questions, I say, this is what my concern is. And it's an invitation to address those concerns with me. But in terms of the advantage of working with a recruiter, well, at the least, and this is with a rookie recruiter. A rookie recruiter is basically a secretary for you. They're working with a more veteran individual who's actually coordinating the search and is going to basically schedule appointments for you. They're going to put you in touch with the senior at the right time in order to ensure that things flow smoothly. The rookie may not necessarily be knowledgeable, but this is the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is working with someone like me who has long track records with most of my clients and is trusted by them. So a referral from me carries a certain weight with the client. You'll get good information from me about what's going on. because the client is very forthcoming with me. I negotiate better on someone's behalf. I know when to push it and when not to. Versus with you, it's something that you do once every few years. It's something that I do very regularly as part of my work, and thus I can be more effective. So my advice to you in working with recruiters is don't lie to us. Tell us the truth. Be honest about what's going to interest you and what your concerns are. If it's a problem, we'll make sure that if we don't know the answer, I should say, we'll make sure it's addressed by our client during your meetings with them. If it's an insurmountable problem, that is, it's something that my client can't satisfy, there's no reason for you to interview if at the end of the day you'll never accept the job. So be honest with us. Also, if we leave a message for you, let me make it a nice statement. If I leave a message for you, I want to hear back from you because there's a reason that I called. I need to clarify something. I need to schedule an appointment. I need to hear back in a timely way. If you can't get back, a quick email or a text back is very useful. So just let us know when you can get back with what you say. Understand from our standpoint, if we're trying to schedule an interview, a client has given us a few windows of opportunity in order to schedule the appointment. And you don't want to be in a circumstance where you get back to us and say, okay, I'm available at such and such time, but we had those times available 24 hours before or even 12 hours before. Often those slots will disappear in that time, and thus we can't schedule, and thus we're going back and forth instead of working to help you and others. And if other people are getting onto the calendar, they may win the search because they're going to create a good enough impression that a client is going to want to hire you. So respond to our phone calls or emails in a timely way. I'm not saying instantaneous, but don't let 24 hours go by. If you're trying to change jobs, check your email or check your voicemail on your mobile or office messages, before lunch or at end of day and when you walk in the morning. Just in case we've left a message for you the day before, we're not going from, let's say, 5 p.m. your time zone till 9 a.m. the next day without hearing back from you. So, get back to us in a reasonable way, okay? So that's my advice about working with recruiters. Let me now talk with you about a few of the new positions I'm recruiting for. The first one is with a global professional services client of mine, and they're looking for identity management professionals who are willing to do 80% domestic U.S. travel. And they want to bring on someone with a SailPoint Identity IQ background or an Archer background to work for them. Figure salaries in the area of $130 to $135 on a base plus bonus, and they're looking for people who are open to doing 80% domestic U.S. travel. They're also looking for enterprise architects and program managers with agile experience, consulting background, and on-site offshore experience. Again, to about $150 on a base plus bonus. If you're qualified, interested, and available in any of these positions, please email your resume to me at thebiggamehunter@cisny.com. If you know someone who might fit one of these roles better than you, by all means, ask them to forward a resume. There are many more jobs available at JeffAltman.com, so come over to the website and search the listings. And if you still don't find something that fits your background, I'd be happy to receive a resume from you. I just ask as a courtesy, put the phrase "on spec" in the subject line. While you're at the site, sign up for a complimentary subscription to No BS Job Search Advice e-zine, which I publish on Tuesdays. You can also post your resume to 50 or so sites from my website. You can use easy-to-work-with career builder links. You can find out about my books and job hunting, as well as other books that I recommend that are all available from Amazon. I'll also mention that you can download my audios Tuesday through Friday about jobs I'm recruiting for from iTunes. It's a new service I've added on recently. This is Jeff Altman. I hope you found today's show helpful. I will not be broadcasting next week. I'll be back the following week. Hope you have a great day. Take care.